enjoy the show, play on Perjangers.
Here we are, Perjangers of the universe. Hey, gang. 'Tis I. None other than Matthew Bucarell, the Mattman. Here for another Matt Plays. Well, Mattcast. Matt Plays will be coming soon in the future because I've been playing stuff, man. Let me pull that up. I'll start off here because I told you guys I was going to tell you what I've been playing and watching last time, but we hopped right into the news. But PAX Dia? Probably Dia. I don't know. PAX DEI. This game found on the Xbox, I'm still one of those Ultimate members because I don't play a lot of games, but I like the access to all these games because I wouldn't normally buy any of them. Maybe if they were on sale. This one I probably would buy if it was on sale. It's a vast social sandbox MMO inspired by the legends of the medieval era. Here, myths are real, ghosts exist, and magic is unquestioned. Join thousands of players as you explore the land, build your home, forge your reputation, and craft your own stories. What world will you make? I checked it out. It was a pretty cool game. And that one I didn't get any gameplay on, so I'll gladly talk about it because it was just like any of those normal sandbox games that are out there. There are even sandbox games where you have, medieval weaponry and magic out there as well. What's different about this one is the look of it. It's very realistic looking, and the actual crafting mechanics and everything are very easy to pick up. The skills, get them as you learn them, as you do them, kind of thing. Very Skyrim or Oblivion-esque rather, which is great. I loved it. I love this game. It's $23.99 if you want to buy it now on sale on Game Pass, but that one's pretty cool. Ninja Gaiden 4 also came out, which I have been heavily playing, as much as I heavily play now. But I had a nice long game session on that one. I'm definitely going to pop back in there because it's just what you want. Just bloody, gory, assassin stuff. And that one I'm going to do a little map plays on because I want to get a little bit more time playing that one, as well as Evil West. Nice Western game. Kind of reminded me of like Red Dead, so been looking at that. New season of anime. I might as well continue here. We'll go off on what I've been watching here because the anime-wise, I saw Chainsaw Man, the movie ReZark, is now in theaters, but it's also doing really well. So if you haven't checked out Chainsaw Man, it's on Crunchyroll. I might actually go through that one and check that one out again. But just some stuff, My Hero Academia, that last episode with Bakugo. Woo! Oh my God, that shit was awesome. Nice episode, especially Bakugo really serving it to all for one. That was an awesome episode. So My Hero still ending off strong there. And let's see any of the other ones that really kind of... Well, I did check out this one. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. The first dubbed episode popped up on that one, which isn't bad. It's, another one of those, older guys, 40-year-old man really wanted to be a Kamen Rider. So very delusional 40-year-old, and how he goes around to justifiably beat people up is actually pretty entertaining. So a whole world of mentally ill people, but a lot of different anime are going out there. I'll definitely update you guys as to the good ones that are out there, but that was a cute little one that I saw. So now we're hopping off here into the top stories, or what I call stories, that we have seen here. So this one was really interesting. I checked this out because, obviously, said multiple times on this network, Big Brother has migraines, but did you know? Doctors reveal why McDonald's Coke and fries could fix a migraine better than medicine. So I actually did it, and I clicked on the old clickbait article here that they have. But essentially, it's the dopamine hit. This is gonna be better than anything. That dopamine does help with the migraines. Of course, the big thing, caffeine. That's why it's all in that large Coke. You might as well get all that caffeine in there. And of course, the infamous last component that helps out that migraine, salt. Oh yeah. Those French fries are going to have a ton of salt on them, which is going to hydrate you just like the electrolyte tablet would. So that's why salt can trigger migraine attacks in some people. So this isn't a free pass for everybody to just, chuck loads of salt on your dinner. But salt, dopamine, and caffeine the next time you have a migraine may actually help you out, man. Go to Mickey D's, grab a large Coke and some fries, and see if it doesn't help your fucking migraine. You never know. You know what I mean? Maybe it helps. Maybe it helps. But I thought that one was really cool and interesting. Coffee drinkers. This study finds that your brains stay 6.7 years younger on average. A 2024 global study revealed that people who drank 5 or more cups of coffee per day had cognitive function equal to someone nearly 7 years younger. They showed faster thinking, better focus, and lower inflammation markers. It's science, not magic. Keeping the coffee lovers sharp. So, all right, man, that caffeine, once again, caffeine's doing something for you, especially in your bean juice. I know you guys got a lot of bean juice drinkers out there. So, got to satisfy the bean juice drinkers, especially since you're so, with it and sharp. You never know. You never know what'll be the next thing from these sharp bean juice drinkers like this one. Hopping over into Japan for a little bit here. Japanese scientists have developed a drug that could potentially extend the human lifespan 250 years. So, scientists in Japan have created an experimental drug that could one day slow down the aging process. Developed at Osaka University, the compound known as IU1 targets aging at its source by removing secrete or zombie cells, the cells that no longer divide and release harmful substances that accelerate tissue damage. By clearing these cells, IU1 may help restore cell health, improve organ function, and slow physical decline. So, in laboratory tests on fruit flies, the drug not only extended lifespan, but also reduced age-related deterioration, suggesting powerful potential for future longevity treatments. However, IU1 remains in the early experimental stage and has not yet been tested on humans. Scientists emphasize that while it represents a promising step towards understanding and managing aging, there is still a long way to go before such results could apply to people. So, in the future, let's hop in our way forward machine here for a second. I'll wait. So, you get this pill, all right? And it's unlike any other pill you've ever had. This one's not for boners. This one extends out your life for, we'll say guaranteed, you'll live to 250 years old, all right? Then you die of natural causes. We'll say peacefully in your sleep, because that's the best way to go. Do you take the pill that extends your life out to 250 years? So that's the real question. Some of you will just, of course, Mattman, jump right on that thing, hang around, and and really go on that train. I mean, I'm pushing 40, man. I don't know if I want to hang around that long. I mean, even if it does de-age you as well, so you still stay young and vibrant. You know, they're turning. They found out that your gray hairs, they can turn that, man. They're going to turn gray hairs back. They're going to regrow your own hair. They're going to regrow your own teeth. They're going to regrow your corneas in your eye. They are regrowing everything in you now. So on top of that, on top of this pill, let's just say, boom, you're right in your prime again. And it's until you're 250 years old. So you don't have any of the old people problems. You're better than the Japanese people, which on average, they live till about 100. So do you take this pill that lets you live to 250 years old is the Matt question of the day, I guess. It's very interesting because I don't know, man. I mean, if I, I got like knees of like a 25-year-old and I'm 100, that doesn't sound bad. That doesn't sound bad at all. I mean, and that's not saying like you get struck by lightning, you're not going to die. You're not indestructible. You just have the potential to live to 250. So we still got all that, war and stuff. That'll still matter. But, still money in that. Don't worry. But, like, do you live to 250 years old? Or is it too old? Just go with the natural way. Maybe you make it to like 80, have a good life, get old, wrinkled, all that. Or do you push it? Do you lean, you push back into that whole technology and live up to 250 years? That'd be really wild because the amount of stuff you could do in 250 years. Even just thinking of like 40 years ago, what it was like in the 80s, right? Compared to today. Take some of this technology that we have back into the 80s and they would be mystified at the stuff we have. If you don't believe me, just show your grandparents anything. And they'll be like, oh my God, back in my day, we couldn't even think of that. Well, yeah, I know. We're not back there anymore. Now we're here. So much better. So much better. We're regrowing teeth, hair, and items for your body. All right? They just 3D printed a kidney that's good for everybody. So we're in this new kind of age of technology, and especially for health. So, I mean, if it was normal for people to live to at least like 200, because you got to figure right around now, we have a bunch of people that live to 100 easily, 100. America's not even that old. So, it's like 3 people ago. Like that old Rogan bit. But very interesting. If we now extend that out to, what is it, a quarter of a century or a quarter of a, what is that? A quarter of 1,000 years. But 250 years, man. If we extend it out that far, we better be traveling to like at least Mars for vacations by the time I'm 200, or I call bullshit, I definitely call bullshit. I mean, it took them long enough to get us flying cars. I mean, technically they're here, right? Had fun asking Grok a question on flying cars the other day, just before I go into the last little bit, or 2 articles I got here. I was asking Grok about, actually, I'll go to this one next. I was asking Grok about flying cars. I was like, well, would there still be a need for highways if we have full-on flying cars? I tricked it. I told it I was writing a comic, but I didn't trick it that way. But so the answer was very interesting because essentially he said, yes, there will still be a need for highways because you would have the robot trucks that are driving, and then you would have the flying cars ahead. The actual roads would double as like an emergency landing site, maybe power grid. That's where they put the wireless charging there. So we can have a whole slew more of crazy shit to happen to our watery meatbag bodies. I don't know, but I thought that would be really interesting. Of like, is there still going to be a need for roads? Yeah, like normal streets around your house. You got to walk. You got to have the Amazon delivery drop off. So that, of course, but highways. I'm like, would there be more space? Would we have just not a need for these highways if everybody's just flying? We have like a magic, hollow net that protects everybody's house so nobody gets fucking pissed off a car just went through their goddamn second story. It would definitely ruin your Thursday Or Friday if, a car came through your fucking house because somebody was flying drunk again. It'd probably be more of a problem in the country. I imagine the flying cop cars would be really on it around, like, the city and the suburbs. I'd like to imagine. But you'd still have highways because that would be the landing site. So that's my fun little thought experiment that I went down my little rabbit hole. But talk about another rabbit hole. Warner Brothers Discovery says that it's officially considering buyout offers amid unsolicited interest from multiple parties. So Warner Brothers Discovery, no secret that they're really hurting. I mean, if you're looking at the DC universe right now, oh, man, you guys try to reboot and you still can't get shit, to where people will go out there and blindly just watch whatever like they do with Marvel. It's very, very fascinating. But some of the, most classically well-known heroes, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all of them right there, but none of them can get a good go over at DC. An investor-focused note issued on Tuesday, October 21st, the company said it had initiated a review of potential alternatives to maximize shareholder value, i.e., these shareholders want money, not your hopes and dreams, James Gunn. I'm so sorry. That being said, I mean, I think a lot of people are being rough on David Salazar and James Gunn right now because Warner Brothers are going to get goddamn bought out. Of course they will. But what does Peter Salazar have to say? President and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery said, "We continue to make important strides to position our business to succeed in today's evolving media landscape by advancing our strategic initiatives, returning studios to industry leadership, and scaling HBO Max globally. We took the bold step of preparing to separate the company into two distinct lead media companies, Warner Bros. And Discovery Global, because we strongly believed this was the best path forward." It's no surprise that the significant value of our portfolio is receiving increased recognition by others in the market. After receiving interest from multiple parties, we have initiated a comprehensive review of strategic alternatives to identify the best path forward to unlock the full value of our assets. That is some sexy lawyer speak right there, ain't it? That's just pretty much saying, well, I mean, they're offering a lot of money. I think we should really look at this. Our investors want to get paid, so this sounds like a lot better of an idea than whatever the crap you were thinking of doing. But, there's a number of high-profile brands and entertainment franchises over there, such as HBO, CNN, Harry Potter, DC properties, such as Batman and Superman, of course. Superman, Minecraft, and Sinners, as well as 2023's Barbie, made over $1 billion in theaters. So they are doing certain stuff right, They had hit TV shows, like The Penguin. Peacemaker's kind of iffy right now for fans. They got The Sopranos, but it's not like they did anything with that. Last of Us, once again, kind of iffy with fans. So they got some shows. They're kind of going. They got these Game of Thrones spinoffs of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is like no kind of magic or anything. It's just the story, like a slice of life day of how this Night of the Seven Kingdoms, how this one guy kind of rose to, popularity in the tales and everything. So I'm not saying that won't be interesting, but there's not a lot of action in that show. That's a lot of scripted drama, built-in characters and all that. House of Dragons season 3, I'm not really putting a lot of gambit in that one. That one's just as bad as Halo. Like, how the hell do you make war boring? Well, with that one, you just make it about everything else but the dragons and the war. You have dragons, but they're not doing anything. So that's kind of the disappointing part about House of Dragons for me. I mean, Not that it hasn't had some good things about it that I don't love about that show. I mean, hell, it had Matt Smith. I think he did a really good job as Daemon Targaryen. Lanterns is the one thing that HBO has going for it. You know, and that they're saying maybe next year. They just saw stuff that on Facebook today that said they just got done. They wrapped up production on that one, so they're going into post. Love that. Can't wait for that show. I don't care if it is dog shit. At least I'm getting another Green Lantern property to where just make them look like they did in the goddamn comic book. That's all you got to do. All right. Have them look after Alan Scott, look over Alan Scott's supposed death, make him actually in Salvation or whatever, whatever you want to do. Give me a good Lantern cop show, because that's all the Green Lantern Corps is. They're cops. They're space cops. Make a space cop show. You can't go wrong. That's how you can start to keep people at DC, giving them stuff like that they want, like Lanterns. Last thing I got in the Mattcast folder for you guys here. Ozama Tezcua. I think I said that guy's name right. The man who created the first modern manga did so because he couldn't afford American comics. So he loved comics but couldn't afford expensive American titles like Disney and Superman after World War II. That caused 500 yen per issue, which was impossible for most Japanese kids. So they decided to create his own entertainment. In 1947, he released The New Treasure Island for just 100 yen. Sold 400,000 copies in a year. Instead of copying American style, he used cinematic techniques, close-ups, wide shots, and emotional expressions. This became the birth of modern manga. By 1950, he quit medical school and focused on his storytelling. He created Princess Knight, the first hit manga with a strong female lead. Manga began to outsell American comics in Japan 10-1. The big breakthrough came in 1963 with Astro Boy anime. It used limited animation so TV shows could be made cheaply. Disney cartoons cost 10 times more. American TV said Japanese animation looked too cheap, but kids love it anyway. Astro Boy aired in 52 countries by 1965, but in the 1970s, Tetsuya made Black Jack, bringing adult themes and moral complexity. American comics couldn't do this because of the censorship, but manga explored topics Western stories avoided. By 1980, manga became 40% of all published material in Japan. Publishers around the world started copying Japan's model as American comic sales declined. So by the 80s, American comics are about to go into that whole crap show that was the 90s. Meanwhile, manga's partying over there in Japan. While Tetsuya died in 1989, he had created more than 700 manga series and sold over 100 million copies. His work built the foundation for anime, manga, and Japanese pop culture. Today, the industry he inspired is worth billions. All of this started because one man couldn't afford American comics, so he created something better. And that's 100% true, man. I mean, even when you look at manga, that's a huge thing for kids right now as they get into the manga, they get into the anime, and they do all that. But this guy, that's where the need for anime and even manga came from, is out of World War II. There was literally nothing. We dropped 2 bombs on them. What do you do after that? Anime and manga. And that's one of the things that helped Japan post World War II. And like I said, by the 80s, they're over there in Party Island while American comics are about to hit the 90s crash. So, by 89, 700 manga series and over 1 million copies. That's a big bucket to win, I mean, as far as inspiring, literally anime, manga, and Japanese pop culture to this day, just off of the comics that he was making. So if you got an idea, Doesn't matter if somebody else is doing it or, if somebody else says it's stupid, because it's what it's all about, is being creative, making something out there that you could be proud of and that you want. So nice little uplifting end to Mattcast for today. More stuff coming out. No more events right now. We just hit up the Phoenixville Harvest Market. Got pictures out there on Bucarell Photography and Perjangers Treats social medias there. Working on doing stuff for the website as well. We got Delco, the Delco or Bust coming in post-production. I can see the end marker in the distance. So we'll have a lot of stuff coming up for you, including a special project that I'm working on with Vinny Green. A lot of special stuff coming over here from Perjangers and Wallhangers. Can't wait to share it all with you. But I try to end off this podcast the same damn way every time, and that's that I love you, I'll miss you, and I can't wait to see you next time, gang. Until then, drive on and game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I can't believe this is how I'm going to start off probably the end credits, because I'm still getting ready here. But nice little end credit segment, gang. First Lady, Candy Queen, Jillian, has not heard of Bobby's World. Amazing cartoon from the 90s starring Howie Mandel. Amazing cartoons. Because if you ever hear from, like, podcasts long ago, sometimes I'll say, like, now, there, then, yet. It came from Bobby's World, as Bobby's mom used to say that. So, interesting little factoid. It's a show of factoids, so you might as well hit that subscribe button. Or, right there, you'll find the best video for you right over there. That's every single Mattcast and playlist. And until I see you guys next time, gang, drive on and game on.
Bye.